Now, last night we brought you breaking coverage of the devastating New Year's terror attack in New Orleans. Well, tonight what we've uncovered is even more disturbing. Basic security measures that could have prevented this tragedy were completely ignored. The L-shaped barriers that would have stopped this attack, well, they existed, but Police Chief Ann Kirkpatrick, who makes $335,000 a year, didn't even know they had them. Now 15 Americans are dead, and we've learned that the suspect's mosque is telling members not to talk to the FBI. The question isn't just how this happened, it's who's trying to cover it up. And if you're suffering from daily aches and pains, listen closely. Just like our nation is hurting from these attacks, millions of Americans are struggling with chronic pain. But there is hope. Top medical experts have unveiled a natural pain reliever that's changing lives. It's 100% drug-free Conolidine. While our security officials fail to prevent this tragedy, you don't have to fail at managing your pain. Over 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes have already embraced Conolidine's pain relief power. Try the only Conolidine product in the world risk-free for 90 days at trycono.com/NNN. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Thank you for your sponsorship, Conolidine. Okay, now remember that whole story, before we get into what happened in New Orleans and the latest. Do you remember that story about in South Carolina where they shut down the highway because of a bomb threat? Well, now we know more about that. Let's listen.
On a detainer. First, the man accused of making a bomb threat that shut down Interstate 85 for several hours yesterday has appeared in court for the first time.
Ahmad Al-Hendi is being held at the Greenville County Detention Center on several charges. Now the solicitor is weighing in on the case. Our Ray Urena joins us live outside of the jail with more. Ray?
Solicitor Walt Wilkins called Al-Hendi's alleged actions very concerning. And Al-Hendi's legal issues are not only here with South Carolina, but with immigration and customs enforcement as well. Wearing an orange jumpsuit, Ahmad Al-Hendi was granted a more than $20,000 bond Friday morning.
And then this individual created the situation with his words and actions.
Hours after, investigators say he allegedly made a bomb threat during a routine traffic stop for a missing license plate on I-85.
The officer asked the individual, do you have anything illegal in here, like marijuana, cocaine? And he said, I have a small bomb. And then she said, what? And then he said, I have a small bomb. And this is on her body camera and in-car camera.
Al-Hendi, who lives in Oak Lawn, Illinois, is charged with breach of peace of a high and aggravated nature, conveying false information about a bomb threat, and operating an unregistered vehicle. Wilkins also says Al-Hendi is not living in the U.S. legally.
Somebody who is not here with the proper documentation, driving a tractor-trailer truck without proper documentation, those are all signs that can be compounded into a much more serious situation. Wow. We're very fortunate in this situation that it was not.
Investigators say no explosives were found in the vehicle. Jail records show Al-Hendi is being held on a detainer for immigration and customs enforcement.
All right, well, looks like the border czar has got one of his first people to pick up. Yes, sadly, 15 people lost their lives in New Orleans. And we have this. This is Maples and Connick, a personal injury law firm in New Orleans, says they will file a lawsuit on Wednesday, January 8th, for failure to implement basic safety precautions for citizens and visitors, paving the way for the attack on New Year's Day. So the lawsuits are about to hit. That's WDSU.com reporting that. And Officer Lou posts this. The Houston Mosque, located very close to the house of the NOLA terrorists, is facing huge backlash for telling members not to talk with the media and refer the FBI to ISGH, the Islamic Society of Greater Houston. So this was just down the street from the New Orleans attacker. Anna Paulina Luna says, as a sitting member of the House Oversight, I have a deep distrust of the current FBI based on what I've seen regarding investigations. Regarding the NOLA and Vegas incident, I have reservations about their hastily response and conflicting info. Also, there needs to be an independent investigation into Bragg. I trust that Kash Patel will bring credibility back to the organization. So, yes, the incoming Trump team has a lot on their plate to unpack. Now, remember this video. This was the exclusive tour by Jeannie Terre of the Nola terrorist home. And everyone's like, what the hell is this woman doing inside the guy's house, inside of a crime scene? Well, they claim they were given explicit authorization to be there. But now we're learning that, guess what? After letting a random reporter roam freely around the New Orleans attacker's home, the bomb squad has shut down the area and are returning the property. So after the crime scene, supposed crime scene, was potentially tampered with, now they're locking it down a little bit too late. And we're learning this. President Biden is going to be visiting New Orleans on Monday.
Family members, so we assume that means they're going to be sitting down with some of the family members of the victims of this attack, also meeting with first responders on the ground who took immediate action New Year's Day. The president commended those in his remarks yesterday. And in that...
Commended him. Yeah, he actually was too concerned with watching the Sugar Bowl, checking his watch as he does. And it's funny that he's going to New Orleans. There's no talk of him going to Las Vegas, right? I mean, think about the optics there. Biden going to Trump International to inspect the scene where a Cybertruck was detonated, right? No, he's going to go to New Orleans instead. Let's continue here.
Remarks that the president had yesterday. He said that he's been busy since New Year's Day on this very topic, meeting with his national security team, reiterating to America that no connection as of yet has been found between the attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas.
I've assembled the entire defense and intelligence apparatus of the country in the Situation Room, and we've been spending a lot of time there.
And while the reported suspects in both incidents were American military veterans, some critics of the president, they feel that the potential for foreign-grown terror has been ignored by open borders for years, allowing the entry of people on the terrorist watch list.
So in addition to this rather rare domestic homegrown, we do have people who very much might be planning something today and certainly have a history of terrorism.
Lawmakers also reacting to a military appeals court ruling that decided Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin could not undo a plea deal for accused 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, saying...
Okay, now we've got some more stuff to get to. This was interesting. The city of New Orleans had L-shaped barriers that would have prevented this terror attack. But the chief didn't even know that they had them.
Jabbar from driving up on the sidewalks to access the road. And when the police chief was asked about these barriers and why they weren't in place Tuesday night, she said she didn't even know the city had them.
Wow.
Yellow archery, where do they come from?
Actually, we have them. I didn't know about them, but we have them. And so we have been able now to... A terrorist is hell-bent on destruction. This man was going to do his best. And if it hadn't been on Bourbon, he was going to go somewhere else. So we have this. We're going to implement it. And end of story.
Yeah, she didn't even know that they had them. Amuse posting New Orleans police superintendent didn't realize the city had yellow archers on New Year's Eve. The devices would have stopped him from killing pedestrians on Bourbon Street. And she makes $335,000 a year. Had no idea. And then there was this. This was published 9 hours ago by RNC researcher, a reporter asking, have you spoken to any of the families of the victims?
Thank you.
Mr. President, have you spoken to any of the families of the victims in New Orleans?
Yes, I have.
What have they told you? What have their reflections been?
Thank you. Thank you.
Any update on the suspects in those incidents?
Let's go, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. No more questions, please. Move along. Move along. But he's like, okay, we'll talk about it later. And then we have this. This is live from America TV. The New York Post, as we said, obtained exclusive access to the home of the suspect involved in the attacks on New Year's Day. The authorization for this access wasn't explicitly stated in public reports, but the context The context suggests it was likely coordinated with law enforcement or through legal means following the raid. Is this the new norm? That's the question being asked. Listen.
There's more stuff in here. It hasn't even been 48 hours, and you have the New York Post walking through the house of the terrorists. Why don't they have it taped off? Why are they not saying this is an ongoing investigation? We can't allow any of the press to come in here and just do a tour. This woman is walking through the terrorist's home as if it's a museum. Oh, look at this. They have a Quran up here. Oh, but there is one Bible down here. Let me make sure I point this out. But there's more stuff in here about the Quran. Really? And then she's walking through and she's looking and says, oh, there's a prayer rug right there. Like, it's just fascinating to walk through this guy's home and just look at how he was living. I mean, are you kidding me right now? Who authorized this? Who allowed this woman from the New York Post to just stroll through it like she's in a museum and checking up and observing everything? People, this is not normal. Y'all let me know if this is normal. I'm going to show you some of this clip. I'm going to show you some of this, and I'm also going to put it in here to where you can find the original clip too, okay? But this is amazing to see happening here. I thought the FBI was all over this. Is this the new norm? I mean, how do we know she's not going to contaminate the crime scene? Because it now is part of the crime scene, because this is his home. Make it make sense.
We are here inside the New Orleans terrorist home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here, lots of different chemicals splayed around, and different electronics. This is, again, a work setup. Left receipts, just very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here, which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray. There's a bedroom back here, and what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Qurans, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here, but mostly books on Islam, and his prayer rug just to the left of me here.
I know you want to see more content like this. Subscribe and follow. This is LFA TV. My name is Will Johnson. It hasn't even been 48 hours.
Thank you for that, Will Johnson from LFA TV. Just bizarre things happening all around this country. And we're going to continue to track all of this. Yes, as President Biden plans his trip there. So, as we follow this developing story here, the incompetence becomes more staggering with each passing hour. A police chief who didn't know about existing security measures, the mosque actively obstructing the investigation, and now personal injury law firm preparing to sue the city for failing to protect its citizens. But here's what's even more chilling. The suspect had a bomb-making station in his home and passages about martyrdom. So what other warning signs were ignored? What other security measures are gathering dust while Americans remain vulnerable? Leave your thoughts below. Who should be held accountable for this catastrophic security failure? And don't forget to check out our exclusive limited edition MAGAvengers collection, available now at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.